Okay, another review of the rational expressions. Now we treat this one like it's a multiplication problem, okay? But you don't have to look at as much stuff. You just got one fraction. So you parenthesize, then you go to your scratch paper and see if you can factor. I mean, they're both trinomials. I'm guessing I probably can. That's on top. That's on bottom. I like to code them. If it's on top, I put them up here, bottom here. So 3 terms, greatest common factor, and the t-table. GCF would just be 1 there. So 1 times negative 3 is 3 negative. So it's a difference of 2 negative. 1 and 3 plus. A is 1, so it's just x plus 1, x minus 3. No GCF to worry about. And that is written on top. X plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, put 1s in front so you can see what's going on. GCF's 1 once again. So 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So that's a difference of 1 negative. 2 and 3 is it. Now my 1's negative. Negative up there means the signs are the opposite. So A is 1, so it's x plus 2, x minus 3. And that is the bottom, okay? Okay, relatively easy from here. We get rid of those, drop those. Now, if you drop those, it's important you get rid of those, and there's nothing else left. So this is a non-issue, okay? It's not an issue. X plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, now the next one is a multiplication. So multiplication is the 1, 2, and 3. That doesn't get a parentheses, so that's just carried over. All the rest of them do, okay? I turn the page over. I like to be looking at one problem as I do this, okay? You don't want to be flipping over and all that. Okay, so I have x to the second minus 11. Remember, that didn't factor, so minus 11x plus 30. That's top. Bottom, we have 2x minus 10. Remember, bottom means whatever that factors into is on bottom. And x to the second minus 6x, that's on bottom. Okay, so 3 terms is greatest common factor. And then Mr. T table. Okay, GCF negative, nope, x and everything 1. 1 times positive 30 is positive 30. So that's a sum. And that's 11 negative. 1 and 30, nope. 2 and 15, nope. 3 and 10, nope. 4 is a decimal. 5 and 6, yeah, that'll work. 11's negative means my 6 is negative, and that positive up there means the signs are the same. Okay, now A is 1. So that's x minus 5 times x minus 6. And that is on top, okay? Two x minus 10. That's 2 terms, so I look for the greatest common factor and then see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, no negative, no x, but 2 and 10's 2. So it becomes 1x minus 5. Now that's obviously not a DOPS, so I rewrite 2 parentheses x minus 5 on the bottom. If it's got a 1 in front of it, best just put it as x. And this has 2 terms, so that would be the GCF and the DOPS. No negative in front. You do need x, so 1x means you have to do it. You have to go through with it. Cancel the x's. 1x minus 6, not adopts. Okay, if your x is not to a power of an even power, it's not. So rewrite that on bottom. 1x, but write that as x. Parentheses x, if they have ones in front, just put them like that. Okay, so out, 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 out. Okay, so you don't have any parentheses, but you do have some out the side. So you got 7x, and 2 times 1x is 2x. Now 7 over 2, the GCF's 1. Okay, so you can divide by 1, but it just stays 7 over 2. These are both to the first power, so they can just be eliminated. I don't have to do the cross out the smaller and subtract from the bigger. So I end up out of that mess with 7 over 2. Okay. All right, we're solving for x out of a proportion. Well, it's got 2 lines, so it's A, B, C, D. Okay, so my A is 1x minus 1, and the B is 9. C is 3x, D is 4. Okay, you need to distribute the 9 because of the minus sign, so it's 9x minus 9. Now, you don't distribute twice here. There's no plus or minus. You just take 3 times 4 and put an x behind it. Well, easy enough. There'd only be one answer, so I like that. Negative 9 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and that gives me negative 3. So I got through that without. Now sometimes you do this, okay, you end up with x squared. Well, you're probably going to have 2 answers and maybe factor. Okay, now for my next problem. Darn it, it's got 3. So I extend the lines, set up my LCD. Now I just dropped the tops. The tops don't need any parentheses. You got to put parentheses on top, okay? Now bottom, we got here. That doesn't need it. Don't get the 1 out. I want that. If it's 1, just disregard it. We're going to start with that empty. And that definitely gets a parentheses. So we need to look at the bottoms. We need to factor the denominators. So x to the power 2 minus 1. So that's 2 terms. So GCF's 1, okay. DOPS. So you're not going to do it. DOPS, yeah, because I mean you got the x minus and the x to the second and 1 times 1. Yeah, definitely that is. So 1x, 1x, 1, 1. Now the ones in front of the x's, try to not avoid putting those down, okay? So I rewrite this as x plus 1 times x minus 1. And let's look at the x plus 1. Some of you know right away that I'm wasting my time. That's okay. I'd rather be right and waste my time than wrong. Okay, GCF is 1. And that's not a DOPS. It's called difference of perfect squares. You need the minus. And the x ain't even to a power, so we don't do anything. So that's dropped. Okay, LCD is pretty easy. You just have the parentheses x plus 1 and x minus 1. There's no outer whole number factors, and because you're just still on bottom. There's no outer x factors. So you got 1, 0, 1. So I raise that by x plus 1. 1, 0, 0. So we need to raise this by x minus 1. And that gets raised by x minus 1. Okay, definitely I want to use the math papa here. So I got 12. And then I add 2, then parentheses x plus 1, parentheses x minus 1. So I get 2x to the second power plus 10. Okay, now on the other side, you're going to end up with 3x to the second power minus 3x. That's what you're going to end up with. Yep. Now obviously here you got two answers. Now that's because you got x second. Now do you have x that's not to the second? Yes, you have two types of x's, okay? So you're going to have to factor, but you have to set it up correctly because you don't have your 0. Now some of you might be wondering, what do I do now? Well, what's the side with the larger x squared? Right there. You clear the other side. So I subtract 2x squared from 3x squared, and then I subtract 10 from nothing but the end. So you got 3 minus 2 is 1, negative 3, and negative 10. So some of you can see right now, I'm going to get this without much problem if I know how to get from here to here. So the GCF's 1. Then the table. So 1 times negative 10 is negative 10. So it's a difference of 3 negative. 1, 10, no. 2, 5, bingo. 3 negative plus. So A is 1, so it's x plus 2, x minus 5. And I can get my two answers, okay? So x plus 2 could equal 0, or x minus 5 could equal 0. So I subtract 2, and that's negative 2. I add 5, and that's 5. Okay, now to the story problems. So far I've made 30 out of 40 serves in tennis. How many consecutive serves do I have to make to raise the average to 80%? So it's an average problem. So right away I go to proportions. Ignore that. This is the wanted average, and this is the current. It doesn't matter which one goes where. You go current, wanted, but your wanted average is the percent over 100. Your current average is 30 out of 40, so that's 75%. So you raise it, add x, not raise it. Raise it means multiply. Add x to each side. Okay, so I just two lines means A, B, C, D. A times B is always equal to C times D in a proportion. So A is 80, B is 40 plus 1x. Okay, C is 30 plus 1x and 100. So that's 3200 plus 80x. And then that's 3,000 plus 100x. So we only just collect the x's because they are like terms. So that's 20x. 3,200 equals 3,000 plus 20x. Then subtract 3,000. And that's 200 equals 20x. So I divide by 20. That's 10. So 10 serves. Okay, my next problem. We've seen this before. I don't know why I keep putting this repetitively. Two speed skaters travel for the same amount of time. Next time that's on a packet, you can punch me. Two speed skaters travel for the same amount of time. First speed skater travels a distance of 9 kilometers, while our second one travels for 8 kilometers. The first skater travels 4.38 kilometers per hour faster than the second. Find how long the skaters raced. So I want to get the distance, speed, time, the one I'm familiar with setting up. So we got the fast and the slow, the speed, the distance, the time. So speed, I'm looking for that per, and that means it says faster. So that means one of them, the fast is x plus 4.38 and x. My distance is just the kilometers. So the faster one's 9, and that's 8. Time you don't know. You know they traveled for the same amount of time, so you have to use your distance over speed. It's distance on top. 8 over x. So now we make those into a proportion. Okay, A times B is going to equal C times D. Again, so 9 times x is equal to 8 times 1x plus 4.38. Okay, so I multiply that. That's just 9x. The other side's 8x plus 35.04. Now we collect the x's to one side. That's 1x equals 35.04. Now, I really don't need to divide by 1, but that is not the hours. X is the speed, okay? It's not like first semester, okay? So, I need to find the times. So I parenthesize that and I put 35.04 in for each x, because that's my answer. Now to find the time, probably easier to find this one. 0.23. And 0.23. Okay, and that's how many hours that this took. Okay, by the way, it's less than an hour. If you're really anal retentive about such things, you can multiply by 60 and it'd be 13.8 minutes, but that's okay. All right, now the next one. You and your friend can mow 10 lawns in 4 hours working together. You have a riding mower, so you can mow twice as fast as your friend. How long would it take you to mow the 10 lawns working separately? So you have the lawns and the hours. So lawns per hour, I don't have that, and I'm not going to need to know it because the YMXB can't be used. Okay. Okay, at 0 hours, I'm not going to get any lawns mowed, so that's a dead giveaway that we need to make a proportion, but this one side needs 2 ratios. Remember, you got to put the hours on the bottom, the lawns on top. So the ratio 10 to 4 is the together. Now, separately, you'd still have to mow 10 lawns. You don't know the time it takes to do it. That's the answer. But one of the x's gets multiplied by 2 because of that twice factor. Okay, 3 means we extend the lines just like I would on a normal problem. And set up your LCD somewhere. Now, you don't need any parentheses. The tops are dropped no matter what. And the bottom, I don't need to worry about parentheses. Okay, there's no plus, no minus. Okay, so my lowest common denominator, I have outer 2, outer 4. Those are my outer whole number factors. And I have outer x. So outer 2, 0, 1, 0. Okay, so I multiply by 2, by 2, by 2, by 2. Outer 4, 0, 0, 1. Outer x, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so I just need a regular 10 times 2 times 4 plus 10 times 4. That's 120. And then that would be 20 with an x connected. So divide by 20. 6 is equal to x. Okay, so 6, and then the other guy's twice as long, so it would take him 12 if he was working by himself. It's like I get the together, now I'm separating the two. Okay, then we have this. You can bike 10 miles per hour without wind. To get your destination is 20 miles. The trip there and back takes 2 hours. Find the speed of the wind. So going there is 20, going back's 20, and that's 40. Okay, that ain't hard to understand. Now the speeds, again, you got it 10 miles per hour, but one way you're going to add the wind speed because you can go faster, but this going slower. So it's going to take 2 hours, okay? But it's not 1 and 1. I can't emphasize that enough. Put parentheses around those and set up distance over speed ratios. And I have a nice equation down there, 3. But it's not really a hard one to do because I already have it right there, LCD. Tops we drop. Bottoms of parentheses are there. They can't be factored. The GCF's 1. It's not a difference of perfect squares. That is a minus, but your x ain't. That is a minus, but first off, the x ain't to the second, and 10 is not a perfect square. So those will just cannot be factored. Okay, so my LCD, I'm just dealing with the two parentheses. 10 plus x, 10 minus x. 10 plus x, 1, 0, 0. Ten minus x, 0, 1, 0. Okay, so that's out. Let's figure out what this, by the way, I should put MPH down there. Put that down there. That's going to be down there. Okay, so now it's math poppet time. 20 parentheses 10 minus x plus 20 parentheses 10 plus x. Okay, I just got 400 on that side. Now you plug it into the other side. I'm going to do it in my head real quick. It's going to be negative 2x to the second plus, hold on here, we have a problem here. All right, so you got two answers to the equation, but you just have the x second, okay? So subtract 200. I can tell this is a problem. 200 equals negative 2x second divided by negative 2. I get negative 100 equals x second, but if I try to square root negative 100, you get Denominator. Don't do the I on a story problem. Just write invalid, okay? That's not going to happen on your test, but yeah, okay?